morning, welcome back. It's a little bit of a late morning right now. I mean, it's almost noon. Almost noon right now. Been hanging out this morning, doing some fun stuff with baby Kae, playing around. We made some paper skeletons and, you know, just having some fun. But now it is time for me to go into work. I just have to check in a couple of things there, and then I should have a few hours. So I was gonna go from there to the gym, and then there's a little project that I have to do on my truck. If anybody's interested in learning how to adjust torsion keys on a Chevy torsion front end truck, I am going to be doing that on my truck today. What this does is gives you a little bit of a more aggressive four-wheel drive stance, I suppose. So an unfortunate deal with most trucks is that you get the back end looking higher than the front end, you know, between the distance between your tire and your wheel well, and it's definitely true, okay, and it gives it that little bit of a, I don't know, slanted forward look, which doesn't appeal to me. I'm not a fan of that. I like the truck to be level. I want the same distance between the top of the tire and the bottom of the wheel well in the front and in the back. So a lot of times all that takes is a little bit of an adjustment on your torsion keys. Now in this truck, this is my 2006 Chevy Colorado that we're talking about. I have aftermarket torsion keys that give me a little bit more adjustment, but you could usually level out the truck just fine without those aftermarket torsion keys. The reason that I have to have the aftermarket torsion keys is because I also have a 3-inch shackle in the back, so that gives me about another almost 2 inches of height in my rear end. I also had some aftermarket front end stuff put in so that I can align all of it once it gets lifted up that high, because usually you could just do a little bit of a torsion bar crank on stock torsion keys to get it up to the same level as your back end is naturally from the factory. And you usually don't have any alignment issues if you just crank it that little bit. But if you want to put shackles in the back and lift the front end a little bit, you need to do some work to be able to adjust your camber in your alignment all the way. Otherwise your camber is going to be completely out and you're going to be burning through tires like crazy. That's what I was doing initially. And now I finally, a couple of months ago, had all of that stuff put in, and I just haven't had the opportunity to adjust the torsion bars again yet. So that's what we're going to be doing today. It's a gorgeous day out today though, folks. Gorgeous day here in St. George. I was going to say sunny St. George, but it's not really sunny. It's kind of overcast. It's nice. It's been cooling off at night again. There was a couple of nights where we just had a little bit of a warm spell. Finally cooling back off again. Looking great. Feeling great. Wonderful stuff. Okay, so first step, measuring out from the ground to the fender, top of the fender, where you are at on all 4 tires. Make sure you have a pen so that you can write down what you're finding as you go so that you know what your benchmark is. So one thing to note is to make sure that your truck is sitting on a level parking area and that all your tire pressures are the same. If there's any concern that your tire pressures are not the same, then measure from like the center of the hubcap or something. Okay, so for my truck right now, the right is sitting at 37 inches. The left is sitting at 37 1/4. So 37, 37 1/4. And then the front, the right is at 35, and the left is at 34 3/4. So there's a little bit of difference there. Now when you're adjusting your torsion keys, I know on these 06 Colorados, adjusting the torsion keys will get you so about 3 to 4 turns on your torsion key bolt
will get you an inch of height. So it's really important just to like do a little bit and then check it again. So if I went 6 to 8 turns, I would probably level out the whole truck. But I also just kind of want to play it by ear, want to do a little bit at a time, see how it feels, see how it settles. So what I'm thinking of doing today is doing probably 5 turns on each side with an extra half turn or so on the left side, just because it's sitting a 1/4 inch lower. So that way I can see where it sits after 24 hours of driving it, and then I can readjust tomorrow the rest of the way, or just go get an alignment, because you're definitely going to want an alignment after you adjust up your torsion keys. Okay, now for a question of tools that you're going to need for this process. You are going to need a ratchet wrench. This particular truck, you need a 1 1/16 inch socket, and then you're going to need a floor jack. You're going to need to lift the front of the truck off till the tires are off the ground. That way you don't strip out your torsion bolts from putting all that pressure down. So I'll get that all set up and show you how it works. First, actually, before I lift the truck, I want to show you where these bolts are, where you can find them. So if you look at your truck here, you got your front door, okay, and you're going to go at the back seam of the door. If you go under the back seam of the door and come forward, so it's about 8 to 10 inches forward of the back of the door, and you have this crossbar right here, and this bolt right here, that's your torsion bolt that adjusts your torsion key. And then coming out of it right here, you have your torsion bars. Your torsion bars extend all the way forward. Now, one of the things to consider while doing a torsion bar lift is that you don't want your half shafts to be angled too much. So you got to watch your angles on your half shafts and make sure that you're not cranking it too far. All right. Tires are off the ground. Okay, that's 4. And an extra 1/4 turn for this side. Okay, so once you set it down, you want to, drive it back, drive it forward, kind of hit the brakes, and get it to settle a little bit initially. So where we're sitting at right now is the left rear at 37 1/8 instead of 37 1/4. The right rear is still at 37. The left front went from 34 3/4 to 36 5/8. and then the right front went from 35 to 36 and 5/8. So I got 1 inch and 5/8 out of one, and 1 inch and 7/8 out of the other, just to level it all off. And of course that'll settle probably 1/4 of an inch or so. So realistically, I'll be somewhere in the 36 and 3/8 to 36 and 1/2 range when it settles. And as you can see here, what I was talking about, trying to make sure that you don't get too crazy with, is these half shafts right back here. Okay, so, and you can see that right there, it's not even, it's at a tiny bit of a downward angle, which is great for the CVs on the front end. You don't want to go too crazy on that or you'll blow your CV joints out. So, give you a look from the back here. So you can tell that front end is a lot more level to the back end. If you look at the tops of the wheel wells, you know, you can see it's a lot more leveled from here. And then here it is from that frontward angle. And yeah, a lot more level, a lot more slick looking, and also gives me a little bit more clearance under the front end. And that's basically it. That's how you adjust your torsion keys on a, well, this is a 2006 Chevy Colorado, but pretty much any torsion key truck is going to be pretty similar to that. And yeah, a couple of things to just remind you of to look out for. So first things first, do not try to adjust your torsion keys with the wheels on the ground, okay? You will strip out your adjustment bolts, or you won't see any actual adjustment going on, and so you'll over adjust or whatever. So make sure that you put your front end up off the ground before you start adjusting. Second is keep an eye on your half shafts, your front axles. Make sure that you don't get too much of an angle on them. If you do, you're going to be binding up in your CV joints, okay? And then third is to make sure that you don't go too far for the setup that you have for your alignment, okay? I had some aftermarket alignment stuff put in here, some things that reposition my ball joints, longer camber adjustment bolts, things like that, so that I can get the extra camber adjustment for a little bit extra lift. I can go a lot with all the stuff that I have on here. I can go a lot higher than where I am right now and still get all of the adjustment that I need, but I would run into the problems of binding up my CV joints and stuff like that. So safely, I would feel perfectly comfortable with going another inch up from where I am right now, and I don't think that I would run into any issues at all. But it's really just like specific to your truck, what's going on for you. And yeah, it looks really sweet. Gives you that good aggressive four-wheel drive stance, as well as for me, the main reason is to get a little bit more clearance up underneath the front end. And during the times of year when I need it, I throw bigger tires on here too. So these are 31-inch tires, and I can go with this adjustment, I can go up to 33-inch tires. And these are also stock wheels, so they aren't spaced out or anything like that. I mean, you can see them tucked well under the fender on the front. And eventually I'm going to end up getting different wheels, but for now these ones work. They get the job done. So a quick, easy way to get a little bit of extra height out of your truck is from the time that I started to the time that we're at right now. It's only been about, I don't know, 18 minutes or something like that. It's really, really quick. It's 2 bolts, lifting up the front end, measuring it all out to make sure that you're accurate and keeping track of your progress. And so
I'm going to be driving out today. I'm going to drive probably more than I should without getting an alignment done, but I'm going to drive about 120 miles or something like that, a little bit of combination dirt and on-road, see where they settle to, and if I want to bring it up another ½ inch or an inch, and then go over to the alignment shop tomorrow and get it all aligned up. So there you go, torsion key adjustment. So one more thing about torsion keys before I get off of torsion keys. The nicest thing for me about the adjustment, aside from the fact that I don't scrape on the rocks and the ditches and stuff out in the desert, when I get in my truck, the way that I sit, it feels so much better because that front end is just a little bit higher and makes me feel like I'm in a real truck, you know. If you've ever owned or own one of these small trucks, one of these mid-sized trucks, you will understand what I'm talking about when I say like you get in it and it doesn't feel like a real truck unless it's all adjusted up, and once you get it up a little bit higher, you have to actually step up into it, you sit in it, and it just feels good. So that's my biggest everyday, day in, day out kind of perk right there. Okay, so fast forward to the next day. It's now been 24 hours since I adjusted my torsion keys on my 06 Colorado, and double checked everything. Everything looks to be sitting pretty well. I've done about 280 miles since then. Gotten alignment done. It was only a little bit out of alignment because last time I got an alignment I had it a little bit higher as well, so they didn't have to do too much. And yeah, still looking great. So yeah, hopefully this video was helpful in showing you how to adjust your torsion key. So if you're toying with the idea of getting it done, this might, you know, give you a little bit of information as far as how easy it is and also like things to look out for. So go ahead, and if you have any questions, comments, whatever, leave it down in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more videos. And we will see you a little bit later on in the future. All right. Take care, everybody. Make it a great day. Peace out.